Geek Myths, a novel about life, love, and the pursuit of sonic screwdrivers. Available in paperback and Kindle edition from Amazon.
Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. This time, the last, well, actually it's not the last, it's volume 1 of Class, which would be part of the last of the box sets I really didn't think Big Finish should be doing section. I know, me being slightly negative, who would have thunk it? But yeah, when I heard that Class was coming to Big Finish, my reaction was, okay. But then again, so was my reaction about, well, you know, if you cast your mind back, Jenny. And also, if you cast your mind back, that was my reaction about Lady Christina. Now, you've heard the reviews for the other two, or possibly, as I'm a terribly bad podcaster, all I've managed to do is do the difficult bit, which is record and write the reviews, and not actually edit and put them out there, because I'm an idiot. So, if you haven't heard those reviews, they'll be along very soon. Suffice to say that this week we'll be doing Class Volume 1, and in the next show Class Volume 2, unless something else is in between, by the time this actually gets out there. So those releases were the ones, for the first ones in a long time, that made me go, okay. Now I know they've probably sold really well, because they're the sort of thing that, well, modern Doctor Who fans like. I know, modern Doctor Who fans. It's ridiculous. The show's been back for more than a decade, and people like me are still splitting it into different categories. Original show and new show. Let's face it, we're further away from Silver Nemesis than Silver Nemesis was from An Unearthly Child now. That puts things into perspective for people like me, doesn't it? We're just stuck in the past. So of course people who like modern Doctor Who are going to want these lovely, lovely spin-offs instead of, say, and I'm not bitter, things like Survivors or Countermeasures. Can I let it go? I suppose I can. So, you've got Class Volume 1 and Class Volume 2, the worst kept secret in fandom that these things were coming out. You've got 6 individual stories. The first box set is 3, the second box set is 3. Now, in order to entice us old fuddy-duddies in, they've gone and put Sophie Aldred in one of the box sets. Obviously, it's Volume 2. Just in order to make you not just go, hey, I bought Volume 1 and it's Call Back to the Past or whatever. They could have all been released in one box set. But in order to bring in the cash and make sure that everything is financially sound, it makes sense to have 2 box sets of 3. And let's face it, buying 3 just as a tester is perfectly acceptable. So what exactly is Class? In case you were under a rock or something. It's yet another spin-off from Doctor Who. But unlike Sarah Jane Smith, which was in my view the best spin-off, and Torchwood, which in my view is much better on audio and is brilliant on audio and was just very good on TV when it was good and absolutely appalling when it was appalling, but at least that generated opinions. So this is your net another. I know we've got K9 and Company, I'm not an idiot, right? There are of course other arguable spin-offs, but this was one of your official spin-offs because Torchwood wasn't coming back to the BBC and they wanted to capture that oh so elusive tween-age market. You see, Torchwood wanted to be adult, and by being adult it became, well, adolescent. This is primarily apparently aimed at adolescents. But they're cleverer than most of us. We're stuck in our ways, we're backward people to be honest. Us middle-aged folk. Class isn't for us. However, storytelling, narrative and acting, that is for us. If I used phrases like wheelhouse, that's what I'd be saying now. But of course, you wouldn't catch me doing that. would you? So your basic setup on TV was that the Capaldi Doctor. I refuse to give them numbers these days, although I'm sure that'll change once Jodie turns up. Right, I live in Yorkshire, and anybody doing the impressions of the Yorkshire accent and the Jodie voice, it's just not working. So, can we just leave it there? When we've got the Whittaker turning up, I'm sure we'll give numbers. I'm quite willing to call her 2.2, because this is the Doctor's second round of incarnations. Shall I just leave this? I really should just leave this, because it doesn't matter. The Capaldi Doctor was in episode 1 of Class. Class is currently living on my hard drive. I never bought the Blu-rays, I never bought the DVDs, I taped it off the TV onto my hard drive. It's sat there, sitting there, waiting for me to get round to reviewing it. My plan originally was to do it over this summer gone, and as you of course heard, that didn't happen. There wasn't any Blake 7 either. I was kind of distracted by, real life things. And my standard output of Big Finish always takes priority. Class takes place in Coal Hill Academy. Now, for those of you not in the UK, the academy system was brought in by the reasonably right-wing Tories. Well, it's been reinforced in a backdoor attempt to privatise education. Or, if you want a right-wing view on things, the academy system has been brought in to revitalise education. And no, I can't go down that road at all. I'm sorry. You know where my politics lies. It's just not going to happen. The academy system has basically been engineered by the government in various forms over various years in order to dismantle education and the local education authorities. Most schools, which were run by the local education authority, which in America would be called the public school system, have been systematically dismantled and are being sold off to academy chains. If you want to know more about this sort of thing, watch the BBC's latest Panorama episode from early in September 2018. Ofsted have been systematically ordered to control and take out schools and turn them into academies, thus offering a much more privatised system, and by the back door bringing back a two-tier educational system for the rich and for the poor. That was my argument for comprehensive education. Wait till you hear my ones about Brexit. Sorry, that's the wrong podcast. Wrong meeting. Back to my corner, shall I? Anyway, they've taken Coal Hill School and turned it into Coal Hill Academy, which gave you a lovely excuse not to have the lovely old school that we saw Clara working at. Yes, I know. No, I do know. And the one that was in Remembrance of the Daleks, and of course Unearthly Child, and then bring it into the 21st century. Into this world we have aliens, we have something that's just a little bit too much like a Hellmouth from Buffy, some rifts, or like Torchwood, it basically bring the monsters to the people rather than, it's a narrative reason. I was never that impressed with Class, can you tell? It just wasn't for me. It was on in the middle of the night. It was download only on BBC Three. It missed me completely. It wasn't appointment viewing, and it just kind of gathered dust on a hard drive. I copied it off onto my DVD recorder, and it's just sat there. I haven't even got around to wasting the discs to put it onto for storage. However, what we've got here is Big Finish Class. Big Finish are renowned for revitalising even the slightest of embers. They take the things that worked in a show and make them glorious. And that is kind of what we've got here. There's a fine line between Torchwood and, Sarah Jane Smith adventures. You've got your teenagers, your investigators,